Welcome back to Good Germs Off-Road Adventures, and welcome back to the shop, where we store pink and purple little monster trucks. But we're not talking about that today. Today we're going to be looking at the workbench that's there. We're going to look at that workbench today. Stick around. So this is one of the Harbor Freight workbenches. My family a few years ago all pitched in and picked this up for me for my birthday, and that was a really nice surprise. I really enjoy it. It's been a really good workbench, and from this angle it looks really awesome. But we're going to go around to the other side. And as you can see, the bottom has kind of fallen out of it. Now I do use it to store all of my hitches, and we're going to get into that in a minute, but some of the reason that the bottom has fallen out is it just kind of sits in some grooves, this wood here. There's nothing to support it and nothing to keep the runners here from bowing out. So they bow out, the weight causes the thing to fall, and that's just not as nice. So we're going to do a couple of things. We're going to put a brace in the middle, maybe two, here. That way it'll hold the the runners. It'll hold those together to keep them from bowing out, and also give some support to that shelf that's down there. But also, we're going to build some storage for all these hitches. That storage is also going to include the ability to store this. Not the shoes, not the bug spray, but the hitch. That hitch is very heavy. It's easily a good 60, 70, 80, 90, or maybe 100. No, not 100, but it's a lot of pounds. So having a good place to store the hitches is something I've struggled with for a lot of years, and I think I've finally decided to go ahead and build something that's going to, help me store them and keep them organized so they're not just laying around, getting tripped over, falling through the shelf on the bottom of the bench, or even worse, left on the back of the car so you can just destroy your knees and shins on them. Before we can do any of that, however, we need to address the bench. So we need to get everything emptied out. Probably should empty the drawers. I think it's a good idea to lay it on its back. That way we can, do the other things that we need to do with it. I didn't really realize there was just some random hitch ball down here. I also don't know why there's a random hitch ball down here. It's a 2-inch. Okay. So you can probably see here, this board's got a bit of a bow to it, and I promise you that's not a weird walleye, fisheye effect thing of the camera up there. It really is bowed. And that's just from shoving heavy things onto it, spreading these apart. Looks like some of these have come a little loose. So that's let this shelf kind of fall through. So we're gonna figure out how to fix it. big flat screwdriver. This almost looks like it's bowed too. How do these work? I don't know how those work. They've got a screw through the end. Well, what kind of screw is in the end there? Of course, some sort of Allen. You know, I blame Allen for many things, and right now I blame him for being the tool that I need. There we are. Oh, it's just the little barrel things, you know, you've got and then it goes, you know. There we go, we'll just let that hang off there, and it'll probably break off. We're going to stand on our bag of sand here for extra support. If you're ever wondering why is there sand in the garage? You know, maybe I want to play in a sand pit or something, you know, a sandbox in the garage. Just as much as I want to ride in the pink and purple, you know, little monster truck over there. Okay. And now we should be able to get this guy back in here. Of course, it doesn't want to fit because it's warped, just like everything else. And it's making crunchy sounds. That's okay. And this one has the sticker and the serial number, and it was on upside down before, so we're going to fix that and turn it right side up. That's probably why it broke, is because I had this upside down. Okay, so while you all weren't looking, I went ahead and tightened everything up, and these are nice and tight. But you can see what I'm talking about. There's just too much play, and you start putting things in here that's heavy, that starts spreading them apart, and the shelf's just going to fall through. So we're going to put some, you know, cross braces on the bottom. Give it some support for the shelf, and also to tie these boards together so that way they don't, you know, do it again. So I think first what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and measure this so I know, you know, where to put my stuff here so they're even. You know, we don't want one here and then one here. That just doesn't make sense. We want to make them kind of even. That would be nice. Okay, so that is 48 inches and a skosh. And yes, skosh, that is a technical measurement term. This is 48 inches and a skosh. So if it's 48 inches and a skosh, if you divide 48 by 3, that is what, 16 inches. And we're only going to be off an inch, and it's not super important to be 100% equal. So we're just going to go 16 inches from each end, and we're going to say that that's, you know, close enough. Let's see. So 16 inches from here is, you know, that's there. And then 16 inches here, that's there. That is lovely. Now what we're going to use are just some scrap 1x2s we had laying around, and they're pretty rough, so we'll choose the good end and the bad end. This one, we'll call this end good, so we'll keep that end. This one, well, this one doesn't have a good end or a bad end. They're both bad, so we're going to have to cut both ends off of it. Well, if you're wondering why I would come way outside, slow down, buddy. Anyway, if you're wondering why I would come way outside so far away, you know, from the shop to cut this wood, it's, in case you can't tell, it's really windy today, and I hate sawdust. I hate cutting wood. I hate sawdust. But anyway, with the wind, if I go anywhere near the garage, the way the wind circles around here, it'll just blow all the sawdust right into the shop, and then I, you know, have to shut the garage to actually clean it. So we're just going to do it really far away from the garage and hope the wind takes the sawdust just somewhere else. Anyway, This is a fun little saw. It's like a, if you could take a scroll saw, turn it upside down and mount it into a table saw. It's pretty neat, but we're gonna go ahead and use it to make our cuts here. I've measured this one and we're gonna cut it. Okay, so that's nice. This one, if you remember, it had two ends that were bad, so we're gonna go ahead and cut one end off. I think we're just gonna cut it pretty close to the where it's not so good, maybe right there. We're gonna flip it around, and now I think instead of measuring, because why would you measure, we're just gonna go ahead and put these next to each other. Sure, those are the same. And then we're gonna put it against the blade. That looks pretty good. And then we're just gonna cut this one right here. Now, for the ultimate test. Look at that. They're the same. Why measure when you can just guess? Sure, okay. Now, see, sawdust. I hate it. I hate sawdust. Let's go inside and fix these up. Okay, well, now that we've got our pieces cut, let's see. Yeah, that's pretty good. I would turn them this way, but I don't like how they stick out, and I think this will provide plenty of support. To mount these in, I'm not going to go from the outside and just put a screw through the end. I'm going to go ahead and do a pocket joint. Yeah, we're going to do a pocket joint, and we're going to make it nice and snug, and it should last for some more time. Well, I went ahead and made the pocket hole joints to pull this together, but turns out that I completely forgot that I was making a video, so I forgot to record it, is what has happened. Anyway, don't worry though. Don't worry, because when we get to making the rest of the video with the hitch storage thing, we're going to be using a lot of pocket joints, so I'll show the whole process, whether you want to see it or not. Okay, but anyway, you can see a pocket hole joint at each end, just one, that should be plenty to hold it together, and it's nice and snug. What do you say we go ahead and take this clamp off and see how we did? Look, that feels pretty good to me. I'm pretty happy with, well, this is in the way. I'm pretty happy with that. It seems real nice and snug, much more sturdier. That is the proper use of all those words put together, much more sturdier. Yes. So I think this is good. We've got the nice solid foundation to build our hitch storage, thing that we're going to mount in here. So let's go ahead and stand this up and put it back together. I don't think you need to see it. You saw me take it down. Okay. Okay, check that out. Already that looks stronger, and we know it's not going to fail because we've got the sticker with the serial number right side up. All right, so here's what I'm thinking. First, we need to turn the side of our refrigerator here into a whiteboard, so we're going to go ahead and do that real quick. There we go. Perfect. Second, we're going to draw our hitch storage, but let's go ahead and write hitch storage on here so we know what we're drawing, because we might forget. We just might forget that that's what we're drawing. So we've got several hitches to store. I think there's like 5, 6, something like that. 5 normal hitches, and then there's one hitch that's the the big one that goes on the back of the Excursion to pull the toy hauler. So what I've come up with is a pretty simple design. And we're going to pretend that all these lines make sense. All right, so each one of these squares is, it's I think 2¼ inches is what I've come up with. And then this is just going to be a big blank spot. The reason for that is this box right here is going to be for the big toy hauler hitch. You know, it's taller and it takes up more room side to side, so we're just going to go ahead and dedicate that spot for there. Then we've got these, you know, other 6 for the other hitches. And you know, I know it looks probably like the lines aren't perfectly straight on the camera. It's just the angle of the camera, I promise you. These lines are perfectly straight and square. Anyway, yeah. This blank spot is literally just to take up some space, give it some more rigidity. Oh, I said it right the first time. Give it some more rigidity and make it so it's a pretty close to a square. And then we're going to have this base kind of set on the bottom shelf. This is actually going to fit under the workbench, and this base right here is going to set on the shelf runners that are there. That way we're giving it good support. And we might go ahead and build something off to the side here with some circles in it, so we can slide our hitch pins in there, give them a place to live as well. So we've done some math ahead of time, and we've come up with a parts list. The depth, it's 6 inches deep. So we need several different sizes and quite a few cuts of wood. So we need, oh, I gotta lean back because I gotta see it. Okay. 8¼ by 6 inch, and we need 3 of those. 5¼ by 6. Apparently we need 1 of those. And then 9¾ by 6. I think we need a few of these. Nope, we need 2. And then 2¼ by 6. And oddly, we need 7 of those. This should make it perfectly clear what we have to do. So in order to do that, you just need to grab some scrap wood you've got laying around, and you can make all of this. And that's what we're going to do. We're going to make all of this. So this is the wood we plan on using. Not so much this piece, but this piece. So we only need it to be 6 inches deep, and this piece of wood is 13 inches and a skosh, some change. It's roughly 13 inches wide, so we can kind of rip that down the middle and make probably all the pieces we need out of that one single piece of plywood right here. Have I mentioned that it's windy? Okay, let's get the table saw out. Yeah, I do keep it outside. It's okay. The only real problem is there's a bunch of junk in here. Hoping we don't run into any spiders. Man, you probably can't hear him, but there's a lot of sirens going on. Well, I wonder if I can just pick it up right out of here. Oh yeah, there we go. That's a mess. We just won't look in there. We'll pretend it's not a mess. So, what we're going to do is we're going to take this piece of wood. Remember I said it was 13 and some change, and I was wrong. It's pretty much exactly 13 inches. But we're going to rip this down into 2 6-inch strips, and I know this wood looks pretty rough. It's got some paint and some grooves on it from cutting through and all that, but it doesn't matter. You know, for what we're using it for, this wood is perfect. So anyway, we're going to go ahead and rip this down twice because, you know, 6 and 6 is 12, not 13. And I don't feel like trying to make it even, trying to split the difference. So we're just going to cut this thing twice. Sure. You don't want to be standing here and push this way. That's how you know, when it kicks back, it hits you in the gut, or if you're tall like me, a little lower than the gut. You know what I'm saying? So we're going to feed it from the side, and then when it gets to a certain point, we'll probably grab our push stick and finish it out. There we go, that's pretty good. So we're just gonna do it one more time. Yeah. And there we go. We now have a couple of pieces of wood we can use and a piece of wood we can't, so we're gonna get rid of this. Okay, so according to our piece of paper, we need 7 pieces that are 2 1/4 inches, you know, with the size. Let's start with we'll start with those, that's fine. 7 that are 2 1/4. So we need 7 of these. Great. Now I know there are some carpenters out there that are watching me do this, and you're cringing. You're probably yelling at your phone, tablet, computer screen, television screen, wherever you're watching it on. You're probably screaming at it, you know, because I don't know what I'm doing. And you're right, you know, I don't know what I'm doing. I'm just making it up as I go. I figure it's good enough. It'll either work or it won't work, you know. That's fine. All right, this pile of wood, that's going to be our hitch rack. Yeah? Well, let's go ahead and put it together. Okay, so now we've got all of our wood cut here, and I've got my piece of paper that says more or less how they go together. So let's see if we can dry fit on this. There's our 7 little pieces. There's that one. And then these. I'm not 100%. I understand what I was doing. Okay, now, so these, that doesn't make sense. That one, why are there 3? I made 3, but why did I make 3? I'm already not feeling real good about the way this is coming together. Oh, yes, Jenga. I have a sneaking suspicion that not all of my pieces are square or the right size, because that doesn't fit. Something's just not quite right. We're gonna have to cut here while I figure this out. Okay, so while you weren't looking, I went ahead and solved the Jenga here. And it's upside down, so the bottom is facing me, the top's facing you. But this is roughly what it's gonna look like. I do have to make a correction to one piece of wood, and that is this one. It's a little on the short side, so I just need to measure this to include enough to go up, you know, to this place right here, and then make a new one, and that should take care of it. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that real quick, and then we'll come back and we'll start doing the pocket hole jigs on the thing and making pocket hole. We'll start putting it together. Okay, we've got our new piece here, and that looks like it's gonna fit. Now the reason why it doesn't quite look like it's going to go together quite like a nice Japanese jigsaw puzzle is because, well, again, I don't really know what I'm doing, and I used a table saw and the measurements weren't exact, and these pieces that were supposed to be 2 1/4 inch or 2 1/4 and a bit, what are you going to do? It's fine. For what we want it to do, we just need it to be strong and we need it to work. So from here, we're going to go ahead and get it marked up, figure out where we're going to put our pocket hole joinery things. Yep. Okay, so we just need to probably disassemble this, and we're going to figure out which way we're going to put our pocket holes. So the way I figure it, I'm going to run them just downwards into each one. So we'll run pocket hole from here to here, here to here, here to here, then here to here. Then we'll set this on it, and then we'll probably just screw this to the top of this one, and then we'll pocket hole these into it. Yeah. Is that what I want to do? Well, that's what we're going to do. We'll play it by ear. What we're going to use, if I can get it out of the drawer, it's stuck. We're going to use the Craig pocket hole jig here. It's real simple to use. You just set it for the thickness of the material. You've got some lines here, and this material is pretty much 3/4 of an inch, so we set it for 3/4. You've got your drill bit, which is already set for 3/4, and you've got your driver for the screws. And for going into 3/4 inch thickness on the wood, use the 1 1/4 inch Craig screws. We'll set these over here, and we'll make sure we knock them off and scatter them all over the floor and get a flat tire with them. That's okay. So the first thing we're going to do, we're going to put 2 in each one of these 2 pocket hole, the things. So I think to do this, we're going to invite Frank to come over, since he's the one that, picked up the new Hercules thing. So we're going to invite Frank over and let him have a go at this. All right, Jizza, I'm coming. How did this thing go together again, Jizz? I don't know what the hell you've built here. Listen, I'm an expert in these pocket hole jiggers. All you got to do is put it on there. You've got a couple of holes. Let me just show you the way this bit goes in. You drill the bit into this jig, and see it comes out the bottom, kind of like that. That's pretty neat. All right. So we're going to go ahead and just insert a couple on here. And it comes with it, so you can do 2 next to each other or whatever. But we're going to go ahead and just clamp it. Normally you'd clamp this piece of wood down, but listen, I don't need to clamp nothing. I'm good to go. All right, let's put this in here. Anyway, like I was saying, you just need to take this, you just stick it in here. See, it's got a metal sleeve in there, so you can just hang on to her and you just drill it in. And there you go. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy. When you take it out, you've got this neat place for a screw to go in, and that looks nice. Let's dump this out. Let's clamp it in and do another one. There you go. Right there, you see you got them 2 on there. And then that, you just run your screw right down in there. The screw now just goes in the hole. And it would make it easier if you had something to hold everything in place real nice. But I'm not gonna do that because I don't like things to be easy, apparently. So we're just going to run this little guy in with this. And there we go. See, with the pocket holes, you just get a really nice solid joint. I've never used it on plywood. It looks like it popped out a little bit. That's my fault. But it's nice and solid. We'll go ahead and do this side now. Oop, see, almost knocked the screws off. That's okay. And there we go. And that's already, well, crooked, but strong. That's all right. It'll get straightened out in a bit. But we're off to a nice crooked start, which is exactly exactly what we want. And there we go. Our perfectly not square, not level hitch storage rack, and we're gonna test fit all these holes right now. Of course, we know the bottom ones were good. Let's try the next ones. That's good. Yep. And this one. They all work. Lovely. So we've got the hitch rack pretty much put together and assembled, but you know, it's pretty near supper time, so we're going to go ahead, go inside and get a bite to eat, and we'll come back after dinner and get it mounted up to the workbench. Well, let me tell you, supper was good. All right, let me show you where we are. Okay, so this is our professionally made hitch storage rack. So we're gonna fit it down here in the bottom of the workbench, and actually I think I need it to, an angle would be nice, but I think that's too much work. But I think I need it to sit back probably about there. So I'm gonna put a piece of wood on top of this and set that on it. But first, before I do that, I think I'm going to go ahead and make a strip here for the side to have a place to put, you know, the hitch pins. You know, I'm pretty sure this is not the proper way to hold it here, but that's okay. I'm afraid to break the wood, if I'm honest. Just like that. I guess we're making another piece of wood. Okay, we're going to try it again with another piece of scrap wood and see if we can't break it too. There we go. Well, I'd say this drill has no issues getting through whatever kind of wood this is with a spade bit. It seems to do just fine. we go. Okay, and here we have it. Seems like it's pretty good. I know it's not the prettiest thing. In fact, it's pretty ugly, but it should be pretty strong. So let's go ahead and let's load it up and see how we did. I may have made a mistake. In my mind, this was a really brilliant idea, but it's really turning out not to be so brilliant, I think. I mean, for these hitches, it works fine. It's just this big one. Well, maybe the big one just can't do it. But this is why we went ahead and added extra supports. To pick it up a different way. But this is kind of why we went ahead and added extra supports in here. So now I can actually put that big hitch in here. And it doesn't fall through. That'll do. Oh, almost forgot about these. And of course this one doesn't have one. And then this is a thing. And that's it. Okay. Well, I know it's not exactly what I was looking for, but it's better than it was anyway. We managed to fix the bench and get a little bit of organization down here. Thanks for hanging out with me today. I really do appreciate it. And you know, it doesn't have to be pretty if it works and it's strong and it'll do what you need it to do. It doesn't always have to be, look, I'm no carpenter. I'm definitely no contractor. I have no idea what I'm doing. I just thought it would work, and it looks like it's working. So don't let the lack of knowing what you're doing scare you out of doing something. Just get out there and get it done. Anyway, if you wouldn't mind, go ahead and do the whole subscribe, like, share, comment thing. It really helps. The channel's still growing, and I appreciate everybody that's out there watching and doing the thing so far. In the meantime, we'll see you later. Just a real quick update. A couple days later, I found some more junk laying around the garage and was able to fashion a little holder for the big hitch. So now I can really say our hitch storage rack solution devices are complete.